Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to HISTOPHTV, Conversations about Philippine Dance with Miss Lisa. I am Natalia Armovit, joined with my co-host Maki Recto.
Hi guys! So ako si Maki Recto at welcome sa HISTOPH TV. HISTOPH TV is a special project created for History of Philippine Dance class at the College of St. Benil. As current dance majors, we have the privilege of interviewing Miss Lisa Macuja, Artistic Director and CEO of Ballet Manila, in our search to
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to HISTOPHTV, conversations about Philippine dance with Miss Lisa. I am Natalia Armovit, joined with my co-host Maki Recto.
Hi guys! So ako si Maki Recto at welcome sa HISTOPHTV. HISTOPHTV is a special project created for History of Philippine Dance class at the College of St. Benil. As current dance majors, we have the privilege of interviewing Miss Lisa Macuja, Artistic Director and CEO of Ballet Manila, in our search to know more about our local dance landscape.
No Filipina ballerina has yet to surpass the recognition and pride Lisa Macuja-Elizalde has brought to the Philippines. Bringing ballet to the people and people to the ballet, Miss Lisa Macuja has been hailed as the ballerina of the people. Undoubtedly the most phenomenal ballerina the country has ever produced. She has had an unparalleled career, best summed up by these numbers: 28 years of dancing the lead in over 300 full-length ballets, performed in over 90 cities that span 5 continents around the globe. So let us all finally welcome Miss Lisa Macuja.
Thank you so much for having me, and good morning, everyone.
Miss, it's a pleasure po to have with you as today. We encountered your name po in our study of Philippine dance, and we would like to know more about you as we dive into your personal experiences vis-a-vis the Philippine dance industry.
So yes, without further ado, let us finally begin with our first question, starting with Philippine dance in the 70s and 80s. So Miss Lisa, in your experience po, how was ballet perceived during this era as compared to other dance styles during that time? And why do you think it was perceived that way?
Well, the reason my mother had to stop her ballet training at the age of 13 was because in the 1950s, there was what you call a ballet ban, where the papal nuncio proclaimed that ballet was a sin, practicing ballet was a sin in the Roman Catholic Church. So all girls who were enrolled in ballet class that were going to Catholic schools had to stop their ballet training. And so we actually lost a whole, maybe 2 generations of ballet dancers at that time. And the practitioners who still wanted to continue their ballet training, like for example, they became ballet teachers after that in the 70s and 80s, like Julie Borromeo or Felicitas Radaic. Basically, they either went abroad for their training or they continued going to class in non-Catholic schools. But for example, my mother just had to stop ballet training. So when she had me, I was born in 1964. I was the first girl in her family, and she enrolled me in ballet class at the age of 8. Ironically, I was going to St. Teresa's College, Quezon City, which was a Roman Catholic school run by Dominican nuns. But by that time, it was already okay to dance ballet. However, in my experience, right, dancing ballet was not considered training for ballet was not considered an option to become professional. It was considered a hobby or something to take for developing posture or maybe a social experience or developing more confidence. It wasn't really a career choice, a serious career choice, because at that time, there was one ballet company, the Alice Reyes Dance Company in the CCP, which eventually evolved into Ballet Philippines. There was also what you call the Ballet Federation of the Philippines, which was a collaboration of the top students from all of these ballet schools. And then in 1986, when the EDSA People Power Revolution happened, the Philippine Ballet Theater was born, which was again part of CCP. So those were the professional dance options in the 70s and 80s. There was the semi-professional dance companies like that were the performing arms of these various ballet schools. I was a product of Dance Theater Philippines, which was the performing arm of the Felicitas Radich School of Dance in St. Teresa's College. And, you know, at that time, there was Dance Concert Company, which was the performing arm of the Vela Damian Dance School. There was the Metropolitan Dance Theater, which was the performing arm of the school of Luther Perez and Tony Fabella. You know, so there were many different ballet schools, and their older students would perform. And, you know, I will never forget my experience dancing as part of Dance Theater Philippines, where we would dance in what was called ballet at the park, after concert at the park, in the behind the planetarium in Rizal Park. And I remember doing an arabesque and doing a promenade arabesque. And as soon as I would turn around and my crotch would be facing the audience, all of the audience would start to laugh or scream, you know, or like shout and clap. You know, that was their reaction at that time. You know, you do a penché, you lift your leg up, and people would scream and shout. And I don't know if they found it. I guess they found it to be too revealing, yeah, and it was just not accepted as, like, I guess an art form that did not elicit that kind of reaction from the general public. It was completely different naman when you would go to, say, CCP for performances, because remember at that time that was when Mrs. Marcos would import all of these performances to the CCP. I remember watching, as a 14-year-old, watching Dame Margot Fontaine and Rudolph Nureyev in the CCP perform. And so that was like a completely different experience, because it was like, you know, the Australian ballet would come, the Russian ballet, the Bolshoi ballet, again, Margot Fontaine with Rudolph Nureyev, all of these beautiful, Martha Graham came with the Martha Graham Dance Company. So we were able to buy a ticket at the balcony to watch all of these performances. So for me, it was a bit of the extreme. You would get a very, very cultured audience in the CCP, and then you would get a very inexperienced but appreciative audience in ballet at the park.
So Miss Lisa, just a follow-up question po. So do you think the shift in ballet reflected the state of the Philippines or the Filipino people during this time? Because as you mentioned po, the People Power Revolution and Miss Alice Reyes's company started at the same time, right po, during the 80s?
It was the People Power Revolution and the Philippine Ballet Theater. Alice Reyes Dance Company and Ballet Philippines was the established in-resident company at the CCP when the CCP was constructed by Mrs. Marcos. The Philippine Ballet Theater was like Ballet Federation of the Philippines brought into the CCP. Basically in 1994, Ballet Manila, my company, was born out of 12 dancers from Philippine Ballet Theater. So that was, you know, for me, evolution of Philippine ballet, there was that monopoly of the ballet Philippines in the CCP, but that did not stop the other ballet companies and the other ballet schools of growing and developing on their own. Because again, as a member of Dance Theatre Philippines, for example, we represented the Philippines in the Aberdeen International Youth Festival. I remember I was 15 years old at that time, and being able to perform in London and in Scotland. We would participate in the Asian Arts Festival in Hong Kong. And we were dancing in ballet at the park. We in fact had 2 performance seasons in Meralco Theater. And this was all before I left for Russia. Before I left to become a student in the Russian Ballet Academy. So the ballet scene was thriving, as much as there were performances, there were dancers developing and having performing careers in dance, and there was a lot of export. Yeah, so you had dancers that would study abroad and then not come back, or come back sometimes, like for example Mania Barredo, Tina Santos Wal. They would Manuel Molina. They would have careers abroad and then come back to perform, then go abroad again. Again, from my school, from the St. Teresa's Ballet School, it was myself and Ana Villadolid, who were sort of like the exports. Ana Villadolid went to the Bavarian State Company in Germany, in Munich, Germany. In fact, she's still there.
Miss, thank you po for that insight on the dance scene during those times. Sobrang nice to be informed regarding the state of ballet during those times and to know it was actually progressing. Miss, as a follow-up question po ulit, what do you think are the characteristics of the Philippine dance industry or community that were prominent in the 70s and 80s that are still seen and felt today?
Well, there was, of course, the influence of national artist Alice Reyes it's truly felt up to today. Of course, she brought modern dance from, I think she was educated in it in New York, Sarah Lawrence University. And then she came back and established the Alice Reyes Modern Dance Company, which eventually evolved into Ballet Philippines. And, for me, that gave Philippine dancers an opportunity to become professional dancers. And then there's the establishment of the Royal Ballet Academy of Dancing syllabus as a training syllabus for classical ballet. That was instigated by Felicitas Radich. It was begun by Felicitas Radich. So she was a pioneer for the Royal Academy of Dancing syllabus. I myself took my Royal Academy of Dancing syllabus for pre-elementary, elementary, up to advanced, intermediate and advanced. So I took 4 exams. I didn't take my solo seal, but I did up to advanced. And then I left for Russia. So there was the training in the Royal Academy of Dancing syllabus and the professional opportunity in Ballet Philippines. So that up to now, of course, you still have Ballet Philippines today, which also, and ironically, there's also the newest ballet company is the Alice Reyes Dance Philippines company that was established just 2 years ago after the pandemic. parang bumaliktad, ano? Parang it became like full circle. So now the Philippines, I mean, in Manila, you have 4 dance companies: Ballet Philippines, Philippine Ballet Theater, Ballet Manila, and the Alice Reyes Dance Philippines company.
Thank you, po, for that insight. So, in connection to your answers, po, or this previous question that we asked, so
Sorry,
what?
can I just add to that?
Yes, po, of course.
I think I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There is the characteristics of Philippine dance and the industry and the community from the very beginning, from when I was a little girl. There is huge competition between the schools, the ballet schools in the Philippines. There is a lot of competition between, say, Ballet Philippines and Philippine Ballet Theater. There is competition between Ballet Manila, and now, there's continuous competitions between, say, the ballet schools that practice the Christine Walsh Australian ballet syllabus, the ballet schools that practice Royal Academy of Dancing syllabus, which is English. Then there's the ballet schools that practice the Philippine dance syllabus. And then there's the ballet schools that practice the Vaganova ballet syllabus. And there's a huge, so basically, I think Philippine dance and the community has always been very competitive and very fractioned. Yeah. And I think that continues to go on today, that kind of characteristic of being fractioned, being independent, and practicing all like independently in our own little corners of the dance community. And very rarely do you get to see all of these different schools or all of these different companies come together into one project. I think the CCP did it with Dance Manila, which was done about 5 years ago, where they brought together these 3 ballet companies to perform together in the CCP. But aside from that, parang kanya-kanya. It's very kanya-kanya. Yeah, and that's a major characteristic of the Philippine dance community that continues up to today.
Oh, I see, miss. Actually, being a ballet dancer myself, when I was really young, I did already notice that. So it's very interesting hearing it from you, po. So just a follow-up question, going back to the 70s and 80s, what would you have liked to have seen or experienced during this time in the development of the dance industry or community? Or would you say it's what you already mentioned, po, like you want to see more of these companies come together during this time, or ano po, what do you think?
Yeah, I think what would have been nice during the 70s and 80s is to have been able to come together more frequently, and to have been able to enjoy a sort of a more collaborative approach to dance instead of a very exclusive. Sana we were more inclusive from the very beginning, because I think if we were more inclusive from the very beginning, we would have developed faster, and there would have been a greater community that supports the dancers today.
Thank you po, Miss. Thank you po ulit.
So before we get into the next set of questions you won't want to miss, we will now have a short commercial break.
It was during the pandemic when most Filipinos' pastime included scrolling through the social media app called TikTok. Many Filipinos started to take part in what are called dance challenges. These dances are mostly hip-hop in nature, as they are made by street dancers. It's no secret that Filipinos love to dance. It makes you question, how did the hip-hop scene enter the Philippines? It all started back in the 80s. The hip-hop scene rose in the Philippines during the early 80s. This was after hip-hop was developed in the Bronx, New York during the late 70s. Because of the colonial mentality of the Filipinos, the Philippines would mimic any trend or craze that would happen in America. The migration of Filipino Americans would also contribute to the rise of hip-hop in the Philippines. During the time, the Filipinos were split between hip-hop popping and disco. There was an exportation of rap music from the United States to the Philippines. Cassette tapes, videos, books, magazines about hip-hop and rap artists will be sent out by Filipinos in the States to their family members back home. Towns and barrios that were near the American military bases, such as Clark Air Base and Subic Bay Naval, would be the first to be exposed to hip-hop culture. Since then, films and breakdancing groups started to rise. These films are Wild Style, Breakin', and Kush Groove, while the breakdancing groups are Woosco International, The Eclipse, Info Clash Breakers, and Ground Control. It wasn't until the early 90s when Junji Marcelo started calling the dance scene in the Philippines as street dance. After his decade-long stay in Los Angeles, he taught everything he knew about hip-hop to one of his first students, Jerome de Malenta, who later on became one of UP Street Dance's coaches.
So there we have it. That is how hip-hop entered the Philippines. It is now a dance scene that is prevalent in the Philippine dance industry. Thank you for watching this fun little trivia about Philippine dance history. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Miss, so for our next segment po, we would like to focus on choices impacting Philippine dance po. So, Miss, did you always plan to start your own ballet company and school? Like, ano po yung mga circumstances na why you founded Ballet Manila po?
Are we going to be controversial here? Why did I start Ballet Manila? Well, obviously, I was not satisfied with the way I was in ballet. I was the CCP artist in residence when I came back from Russia in 1986 to 1988. For 2 years, I was CCP artist in residence. And so during that time, I was dancing with both Ballet Philippines and Philippine Ballet Theater as CCP artist in residence. And then I became exclusively a principal dancer of Philippine Ballet Theater for 7 years. And what I enjoyed about that is that I was dancing in the Philippine Ballet Theater seasons in the CCP, but then outside of that, I was free to guest internationally. So I was able to dance in New Zealand, in Singapore, in Russia, in Cuba, you know, in all of these different countries as an international guest artist, flying and representing the Philippines, flying from and representing the Philippines. But then in 1994, at the end of 1994, there were just a lot of controversies internally in how Philippine Ballet Theater was being run, and the constant change of artistic directors. It basically made the company lack a continuous plan for the future of dancers and the progression of their careers, because Philippine Ballet Theater had this policy of rotating artistic directors every year. So every year there was a new artistic director. And so it's hard to have a continuous vision of your career. And it was hard to continue to practice in the different styles of training. So I really wanted a company that had more of just one style of training, which was, of course, for me, it was the Russian Vaganova style, because that was what I trained in Russia, and I just wanted to continue that. And it just so happened that 11 other dancers in Philippine Ballet Theater wanted to leave the company with me, and my original plan was to go abroad and continue my career abroad. But when these 11 other dancers decided to leave Philippine Ballet Theater as well, we got together and formed Ballet Manila. And it was always with the mission and vision of practicing ballet and giving high quality performances as ballet for the people and to bring more people to the ballet. That has been our mission and vision since the beginning. And Ballet Manila is triumphantly 28 years old. But we are in the middle of our 25th performance season because we had to stop our performance art season because of the pandemic.
Miss, Miss, okay lang if hindi niyo po ito sagutin, pero like, ano po yung sa tingin niyo nagkulang or like yung rason kung bakit po hindi pa kayo naging satisfied po?
There were many things that happened. And I don't want to go into this because it's just, I mean, it was so long ago and so much has happened since then. Let's just say that there were a lot of, there was dishonesty and there was a lot of improper reporting, and there was a lot of improper compensation, and it was very unfair to the dancers because parang the dancers didn't have a voice in fighting for their rights as a performing artist. There were instances where salaries were not given on time, for example, or point shoes were not given, per diems were withheld during foreign tours, and mainly really I think the dancers needed a voice, and I wanted to have a company wherein the dancers were treated better. So that's why we went into our own. Madami pa eh, but again, I don't want to go into it because it's water under the bridge. It's all in the past, and thankfully we were able to establish Ballet Manila and grow and move on from there. And I believe that had we not left the company and established Ballet Manila, then these ballet generations that we've been able to nurture in Ballet Manila, in my school and in my company, would not be here today. We would not have these success stories like Christine Rocas, who's now in Joffrey Ballet, or all of these other dancers that have come and gone with ballet careers, and thankfully we survived.
Thank you so much, Miss, for sharing what you can share. But we can, as you said, put water under the bridge, so we can move past that question. So going back to your company, do you think you could perhaps have created your own style of the Vaga Nova method for the Filipino body?
So define the Filipino body first. Okay, sure, we're shorter maybe than the regular European or American dancer. Maybe we have shorter limbs, longer torsos. Maybe, but even in the West, you have ballet dancers whose the ability to turn out from the hips is limited. And then you also have the Filipino ballet dancers whose ability to be able to turn out is, 180 degrees. You have the flexible dancers' bodies, and you have the not so flexible ones. You have the bow-legged dancers, and you have the dancers with beautiful straight limbs. I think it's not it's not a matter of saying that you need to adapt a ballet syllabus to the Filipino body. I think you have to adapt a ballet syllabus to a, a body that was not auditioned for ballet training, because there's a huge difference when at the age of 8 or 9 your bodies are selected for professional ballet training, and like here in the Philippines, where anybody can enroll in ballet. It doesn't matter what kind of body you have. Anybody can enroll in ballet, and anybody can pursue that kind of training where it gets harder and harder and harder. And you might not have the perfect body for ballet, as I did not have the perfect body for ballet. In fact, my own Russian ballet teacher, who's a pioneer, a practitioner of the Vaganova method, said that had you auditioned for the school and not been given to the school as a scholar of the Ministry of Culture to train, you would not have gotten into the school, given the ballet, the body that you have. But I was thrown into the school because I was a scholar of the Ministry of Culture. So thankfully I was able to adapt to the Vaganova method. I only had 2 years of training in the method, the 7th year and the 8th year, whereas my classmates were trained from the age of 9, from year 1. You know, so I had to cram all of that Vaganova training into my Filipino body, into my imperfect body in 2 years. And I was able to do it. But, you know, again, there are dancers that are born with coordination, the ability to absorb technique, the ability to copy, mimic their dance teachers well, the ability to turn, the ability to jump, you know, all of these natural abilities that you have to basically train in one system in order to become a professional classical ballet dancer. Whether that's with the Vaganova method or any other method. It's just there are bodies that are better suited for a professional dance career. Yeah, and so let's not say Filipino body. Let's just say that there are just bodies that are better suited for dance, that are handpicked, selected from the age of 8, 9, 10 in other countries for training in ballet academies or other companies. And up to today, you do have schools that you can only attend if you pass the auditions. You cannot just pay and enroll. You have to pass auditions because people are just very selective of their students that will train in dance.
Wow, Miss, thank you. Thank you so much for expanding our knowledge on how we should see our own bodies. And we do agree po that actually we should not be saying Filipino body, but we all have our unique bodies. So it's really humbling to hear that, as you said po, you know, anyone can dance, and seeing how you did struggle actually inspires so many of us to continue pursuing this art form.
For our next set of questions, we will dive into the connection of Philippine and Western dances. So, Miss, with the rapid advancement of technology po, do you think we are adapting and reinventing Western dance styles into the Philippine dance scene po?
Of course, I think we've always been doing that. Even not my generation, but the generations before me. We've always been reinventing Western dance styles into the Philippine dance scene. You know, national artist Leonor Orosa Gokinko did it. She combined the tinikling with classical ballet. So did Alice Reyes, so did Felicitas Radaj, so did Steve Villaruz, so did all of these different Filipino choreographers. All of these dancers have had Western education and then come back and have always been doing this with all the different choreographies of, say, what we call ethnic ballet, up to today's, for example, Agnes Locsin's Encantada, that's going to be performed again by the Alice Reyes Dance Company in the Metropolitan Museum in April. To say Martin Lawrence's Romeo and Juliet that Ballet Manila just performed, where Romeo and Juliet dance to OPM music for the balcony scene. It's Sana'y Wala Nang Wakas. And all of these different innovations, this kind of collaborative, very global approach to dance is present in the Philippine dance scene, and I think we just have we have to be really thankful for that, because like I don't think any professional dance scene is without this kind of influence. Even in Russia, you have Balanchine. Even in the most remote part of Russia, you have different choreographies of different kinds of nutcrackers, different kinds of different kinds of Romeo and Juliets. All of these different choreographers are reinventing ballets as we go on, because change is constant, evolution of dance is constant, and I think we're just constantly looking and creating and exploring all of these different styles, and it's fantastic because the dancers are able to explore and grow, and then when they dance is handed down from one generation to the next. So for example, I danced in 4 different versions of Romeo and Juliet, but as a dance director, I wanted a different version of Romeo and Juliet, not any of the versions I performed as Juliet, but something different. And that's why we created Romeo and Juliet of Martin Lawrence for the Ballet Manila Company that just did it last February for the opening of our 25th season. We are constantly reinventing. And whether this Philippine dance scene is influenced by Western style or say Eastern style, there's, for example, Bloom of Ballet Manila is inspired by the Indonesian Javanese dancing, but created by a Western choreographer, Belgium-based Belgian choreographer Annabel Lopez Ochoa. So, there's a lot of different reinventions, and we are influenced, but at the same time, we are creating our own.
So, Miss, in connection to what you have been saying, the constant reinvention of our dance styles, what do you think is another Philippine folk story or any story in general that you would like to adapt into a ballet besides Ibong Adarna? So is the Filipino audience partial to story ballets?
Definitely. The Filipino audience likes story ballets, period. I don't know, from the 28 years that I've been performing to this Filipino audience, they always like a love story. They like happy endings, and they love to laugh. So if you have a light ballet with a lot of comic routines, they like that. And if you ask me, if there's any other Philippine folk story that I would like to adapt into a ballet, after Ibong Adarna, which we premiered in 2017, I think, or 2018. I always, because of the success of Ibong Adarna, I said, oh, let's look for another Filipino ballet, because in the past we've done Tatlong Kwento ni Lola Basyang in Ballet Manila. We've done Tatlo Pang Kwento ni Lola Basyang. So that's 3 stories in one, which has been very, very popular. Especially the Tatlong Kwento ni Lola Basyang has enjoyed probably 4 reruns already in our seasons. We have Alamat, Sibol at Sigunaw. We have so many different Filipino ballets, aside from Ibong Adar na ito. But there are so many different Filipino, and not just Filipino folk stories. There's so many, why don't we create a children's ballet based on the story of the Ugly Duckling, for example? Why don't we create a Filipino story based on, say, Juan Tamad? When you're in the performing arts and you have a ballet company, there's so many possibilities, because the beauty of dance, the beauty of creating a ballet is you can tell the story without having to say a single word, and you can create and tell the story and perform it to the audience of any age, from 2 years old up to 92 years old, and people will understand what's happening, and people will be moved by that story, because you don't have to be able to understand the language. You just have to understand the language that is dance.
Yes, Miss, I would love to see this story on stage, and I can't wait to see more Filipino stories on stage.
So before we get into the next set of questions you won't want to miss, we will now have a short commercial break. Hey there, sorry to bother you, but I just want to share something recently that has been occupying my mind. So, scrolling through my social media nowadays, I have noticed the prevalence of foreign influences on my friends and family. From what kind of posts they share to the kind of content they make. I guess a lot of this stems from the rapid growth of platforms like TikTok and other platforms that are all about creating viral content, or the next big trend that will not even last a week. Now this has made me question, well, how about our own Philippine dances? Are foreigners even aware of our culture, the Filipino identity, just as much as we are aware of what is going on outside our country? Upon researching this, I came across the Bayanihan Dance Company. Now, did you know, in 1956, Dr. Helena Z. Benitez founded the Bayanihan Folk Dance Group of the Philippine Women's University. The following year, in 1957, it was formally organized as the Bayanihan Folk Arts Center with the Bayanihan Philippine Dance Company as its performing arm. For those of you who don't know, Bayanihan comes from an ancient Filipino tradition of working together for a common good. Both the center and the dance company were tasked to research on and preserve indigenous Philippine art forms in music, dance, costumes, and folklore, to restructure and enhance these research findings to evolve repertoires suited to the demands of contemporary theater, and to promote international goodwill through performances at home and abroad. Since its formal organization, the company has mounted 14 major tours of 6 months to a year in duration in Asia, Australia, Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and Americas, and over 100 short tours to foreign countries. So, in half a century, Bayanihan has performed in 6 continents, 66 countries, and 700 cities worldwide. A multi-awarded company both internationally and nationally, of course, Bayanihan has awakened a new pride among Filipinos in their cultural heritage, added a new dimension to the country's dance tradition, and has built a rich reserve of international goodwill. Now, I don't know about you, but honestly, knowing that there are such efforts being made by Filipino artists to preserve, reinvent, and spread the beauty of our dances and culture makes me feel a sense of pride and determination to do the same. So you, watching this could be your little reminder to support our own local artists, such as the Bayanihan Dance Company, who works so hard for our culture to be seen and appreciated by people around the world. So there you go. I hope you learned something new today, as I did as well. Catch you next time.
Sabe, those trivia have become food for thought this morning. Welcome back to HISTOPHTV. So on top of that, how do you stay abreast of developments in your field po? Like, Miss, paano po kayo nakaka-keep up or let's say follow up sa mga pag-unlad sa inyong larangan po?
Well, right now I'm not a dancing ballerina anymore. I retired 5-6 years ago. So I'm now more into teaching, choreographing, and directing in my company, and mentoring, training ballet dancers for future professional careers. And how do I keep abreast? I think, like many of you, I explore social media and all the different forms of dance instruction that's available online. I also have my own classes online. I'm being mentored by my Russian ballet teacher on the Vaganova method and syllabus. So I am continuing to train as a teacher with my teacher that trained me as a dancer, right? So, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic opportunity that's only available because of Zoom. It's only available because of the ability to connect through the internet and through these different the technologies available today. I also like inviting choreographers from different countries, different ballet companies and different schools to come and teach and choreograph on the company. As well as I invite teachers to teach, and work with the company and the school. And we just participate. We participate in international ballet competitions. We participate in local ballet competitions. We participate in arts festivals. And we participate in local festivals as well, and international arts festivals as well. And in doing so, that's how you basically keep developing and keep incorporating all of these learned techniques and experiences into your practice.
Wow, Miss, it is truly inspiring to see how you have chosen to consciously adapt to these post-pandemic times and all the technological advancements happening. So for our final set of questions, we would like to go into the realm of more hopeful questions as we look forward with more progress, or the hopes of more progress for our local dance scene. So earlier po, we touched on the changes you would have liked to see during the 70s and 80s. So we would like to know now, how about during this present time? What changes would you like implemented in our local dance industry and or the global dance community? Oh, Miss, you're smiling again.
As I said earlier, I wish that there was like a less fractioned dance community. I wish that there was more chances of collaborating rather than competing with each other, as whether it's as ballet companies or as ballet schools. I wish that there was like a more developed, say, audience for ballet. I wish that there would be less of the asking for, say, complimentary tickets to watch dance performances, and more of, giving all of these professional dancers the due respect of buying a ticket to watch a performance, because that's the only way our dance industry is going to survive, is if we develop an appreciative audience, but remember, also a paying audience to watch these ballet performances. I would love to be able to see changes, say, in our government, to make, to have more support from the government and the private sector as well for dance. Because that's the only way dancers will thrive, is if we have patronage, and opportunities to create and perform. And it takes a long period of training to be able to become a ballet dancer, and it's an expensive profession to be in. One pair of point shoes costs more than 5,000 pesos. So, it's expensive. And we won't be able to survive if we don't have more people paying to buy their tickets and watch the performance, longer running shows. You rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and what, you have like 3 performances or 2 performances or 1 performance. After all of that rehearsal and creation, you have like 1 performance to grow. I would love to have a thriving community where there are performances every weekend, and every weekend people are fighting to get a ticket, and people are lining up outside the theater for extra tickets. I wish the ballet performances were as popular as K-pop concerts, and as all of these, foreign groups that come in and perform. There's so many wish. I wish that we had live music to performances. I wish that there was an orchestra for every performance that we did, like the way it is abroad, where you have live music accompanying these dancers. I wish that we had more opportunities to create more new material. Again, it's expensive to create new material. So what do we do? We keep on going back to reruns, recycling what we've had in the past. So because it's a lot of resources to be able to create new material. And then again, for just 1 or 2 performances, sayang, di ba? Sayang. So sana we had longer running shows, a paying audience, and more support from both the government and the private sector as far as patronage and sponsorship is concerned.
So, Miss, with all that you said, so you do believe po that this new generation of online audience is truly ready for the ballet world? And do you think this can change how dance is viewed as a whole?
Of course, a lot of influence of social media, I'm sorry to say, has made dancers and people like dance students focus too much on the number of pirouettes that they can do, or how long a balance you can do on point, all of these like the pirouette challenge, and I don't know what the you see these ballerinas balancing on point for as long as they can do, and you have so many likes because of these, like 8, you see a ballerina go 8 pirouettes, and but the thing is, it's not just about that. It's about connecting all of these different steps into one beautiful artistic performance that moves the audience. So yeah, I would like to to go back to the time when there was this dancer teacher, I'm handing down to you my art relationship. There was more of a mentoring, almost like a parent, almost like, I look at my ballet teacher, for example, as my second mother. And I wish that there was like more of that, rather than these students going from one school to the next, because and going into one ballet competition and the next, and then winning a ballet competition and retiring, and saying, okay, now that I've won my gold medal, I will now retire. I don't want to become a professional dancer anymore. Kasi it's a very different kind of approach to ballet and to a dance career that I feel the change. Yes, it's nice that you have more exposure. Like, if I want to watch Swan Lake, all I have to do is go to YouTube, click, search Swan Lake, and there's so many different Swan Lakes available. I can watch Swan Lake. But what about when Swan Lake is being performed live in a theater, just steps away from my house? Will I go? Will I buy a ticket and watch, or will I just turn on YouTube and watch Swan Lake whenever I can? There's pros and cons to all of this technology and all of these performances that are available online. The wonder of being able to, say, watch Akram Khan's Giselle without having to leave your living room, that's amazing. For me, it's amazing. But at the same time, if I had the opportunity to watch Akram Khan's Giselle in London, for example, will I do that? Will I go? Or will I keep to, say, YouTube? Because if I don't go and watch it live, then I'm contributing to the death of my own art. Yeah, because my art, the performing arts, will only survive if we have the support of our audience. Yeah, and that audience is changing its habits. Yeah, that audience is now turning to YouTube. Will that audience come back to the theater after this pandemic? That's a big question that all of these performing arts companies are now exploring, now that we're opening up. And I think the answer, thankfully, is yes. We have an audience, and yes, they're coming back. And yes, they're still asking for complimentary tickets. But thankfully, and hopefully, we will continue to have live theater performances and live audiences, and we just have to do our part, slowly but surely. We just have to continue working hard and presenting performances that are of such high quality that the local audiences and international audiences will not be able to ignore our work anymore.
True, me is like sobrang totoo na ang technology does really have pros and cons, na hindi siya about sa likes or kung ilang pirouettes mong nagawa or like yung exposure rather, but it's more about the performance and the artistry. So Miss, as you have mentioned earlier, yung hopes nyo po na which we wholeheartedly agree on, realistically speaking, do you believe that we are heading toward that direction po? Or if not, what needs to be done to achieve these things po?
Well, I would be very negative if I say that we're not heading in the right direction. And I'm a very positive person, so an optimistic person. So I would think that we are heading in the right direction because we are continuing to train, we are continuing to create, we are continuing to try and survive in this very competitive and very difficult profession. And yes, maybe enrollment is down. Yes, maybe a lot of people are like training online na lang and not going to face for studio training. Maybe there is a different kind of approach now to dance training, but we are continuing to put up performances, and I think that's the key, is we continue to put up performances, continue to invite people to come and watch and appreciate performances, because that's what it's all about. That's what all the training is about, to be able to go on stage and perform and grow as an artist, as a performing artist. So we are continuing to nurture that with these active performance seasons. I believe Ballet Philippines, Philippine Ballet Theater, Alice Reyes Dance Company, Ballet Manila, we all have performance seasons planned for 2023 and beyond. Now that again, the pandemic is over and we're continuing to practice our art form. My school is continuing with hybrid classes. We have online classes, but we also have face-to-face classes. We are continuing with our recitals. We are continuing with our exams. And I'm pretty sure all the other schools are doing the same. So as long as we have practitioners who are willing to continue to work hard and develop the next generations of dancers, you will always be going in the right direction. Because the key is to continue to develop dancers that will eventually be also your audience. You have to continue to develop your community that will eventually be the parents that will be bringing their kids to ballet class or to a ballet performance. You know, I get people coming up to me asking for selfies and then saying, you know, I read about you in my elementary school book, or I watched you perform when I was a little girl, and now I'm bringing my own children to watch your company perform. And that's the way it is. That's how it's going to be for the next generations to come. And that's how the art form has survived all these years. That's how Swan Lake has survived since it was created in the 1800s. It's because it's handed down from one generation to the next. So we are always heading in the right direction as long as we continue training and we continue performing.
Wow, Miss. Actually, I do want to mention just really quick, I have this coffee table book about your life. And when I was really young, I watched one of your performances and you signed it for me. Like you said something like, keep on dancing, which I'm doing now. So it's like a beautiful full circle moment, and that you're explaining this moment. So it's kind of meta, and it's really inspiring.
I'm glad.
Yes, but
yeah, but I always encourage my my students and well, students in general, or young people in general, just to keep on dancing. And it doesn't have to be ballet. It can be any other form of dance. But I believe that dance is the best form of exercise, and it's the best form of activity to keep to practice wellness, and to avoid getting sick or avoid feeling depressed. And it's just a very I think it's a crucial activity that you have to keep on doing, whether professionally or in, you know, dance in your bedroom to, you know, to music from, you know, to rock music. moving to music, it exercises kasi both sides of the brain, the right side and the left side, the creative side and the logic side. So to be able to coordinate and move to music, I think that's the best kind of therapy anybody can have. And I continue to preach that. You have to keep on dancing, no matter what age, no matter what nationality, and no matter what kind of training and what kind of dance background you have. You can have zero background and just keep on dancing.
So I think I can speak for all of us here that, wow, we are equally feeling inspired with how positive your outlook is on the future and our future for that matter. So my dear friends and viewers, unfortunately, we are coming towards the end of our interview. And you've been giving a lot of inspiring messages, but do you have any other final thoughts or messages for all the aspiring dancers, choreographers, teachers, who are navigating this post-pandemic time and during this time of the social media craze? So just any final thoughts, po?
Well, number one, I think the worst is over. I think we are moving into a rebirth, a renaissance. Whether we're going to take advantage of this renaissance, that's up to you. As aspiring dancers, choreographers, teachers, my first advice really, get the training that you need to be able to keep on practicing your art form. Get the experience you need. Find the best company or the best school that's going to give you that training, that's going to give you that experience. Keep on exploring all the different forms until you find your niche, your expertise. Give yourselves a break also, 'cause that's important. Make your body and mind rest at times. That's very important, just to be healthy. And especially if you get injured, give yourself time to heal, because that's very important. Your body is your instrument, and you have to take care of that body. And then I would say, keep on creating, even if it's, because now with social media, everybody has a platform. Everybody has a platform to be able to perform. Whether it's a choreography of a solo that you did by yourself in your bedroom and you publish it online, or whether it's a ballet tip or a tip on dancing that you want to share with everyone, or it's a performance that you watched and you want to encourage people to watch it also, so that you can share this experience that you learned from. Just keep on doing that. Keep on creating, and keep on exploring, and keep on pushing yourself, because that's what we will do. We will continue to do as long as that passion and that love for dance is present in our hearts and in our minds. As long as we love to do what we're doing, continue doing that, because that's how we're going to survive again as artists, as performing artists, as dancers, choreographers, teachers, in this very demanding art form. A dance career is very short. So life is very short. Hey guys, life is very short. So let's take advantage of what we can do now, especially while we're young, because a dance career is for the young. So again, we go back to my original advice to young people that want to achieve success in any platform, in anything they want to do. Commit as early as possible. Decide and commit to whatever you want to do. whatever you're passionate about, because as young people, you have the time, you have the luxury of time to devote yourself to this commitment. So I think that's crucial, is you decide and commit first. Then you work hard. After seeking the best kind of training, you work hard.
Miss, totoo po yung sinabi niyo na parang, kasi po, Miss, hindi po ako ballet background po. I'm a street dancer po. And lahat po ng sinabi niyo, maa-apply ng lahat. Katulad na lang ng importance ng experience and training, safe space, which is yung paghahanap ng best company or school na mag-a-uplift sa'yo. Yung tipong, ayun din, Miss, yung sinabi niyo yung pahinga, like, give yourself a break. Wag tayong magpakaano, Miss, sa kumbaga sa mga social media, wag natin i-compare yung experiences natin sa kanila. And yung Miss, as long as masaya ka, go. And yun nga, maikli ang buhay, kaya go lang ng go. Wag nating, guys, sayangin yung oras. Just like what Miss said, let's decide and commit. Afterwards, work hard. Ayun, Miss. So, thank you po. Thank you po. It's such a shame, however, na ang oras natin ay is about to up, and we know we've only just touched the tip of the iceberg where dance and Miss Lisa Macua is concerned.
So I'm pretty sure our listeners would like to follow your next steps po. So please feel free to let us know and share with us your current projects or upcoming shows for them to watch out for. And yes po, the floor is yours.
I'd be happy to. You can follow us at Ballet Manila Official on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. The Lisa Macuja School of Ballet is also available on Instagram, Facebook, all these social media channels. I am personally, you can reach me at Lisa Macuja on Instagram, and Lisa Macuja-Elizalde _ballerina on Facebook. And of course the Ballet Manila website, www.balletmanila.com.ph. We perform every weekend in Star City, Thursdays till Sundays. Our next big performance in Aliw Theater will be the classical full-length ballet Don Quixote, starring Catherine Barkman and Esteban Hernandez of San Francisco Ballet as Kitri and Basilio. And of course, Gerardo Francisco's Ibong Adarna in August will be restaged. That's our 25th ballet season. And watch out, of course, for our special event in October and our holiday series in December. So that's for 2023. Beyond that, tapusin muna natin itong taon. All right, before we go into anything else. In the Lisa Macuja School of Ballet, we do have our recital on July 1 in Aliw Theater, Just Dance 25, and the Nutcracker in December as well.
So for our viewers and Miss Lisa, if you are interested po, please look forward to Benil Dance on Screen 7.0, a premiere of BPAD students' term and online requirements, which will be presented via Zoom on April 7, 5 o'clock p.m. via FB Live and YouTube. So, Miss, before we end, we would like to present you our token of appreciation for taking the time of your busy schedule to share with us your experiences and precious insights. Miss, we will send this to you within the week. Ibibigay po ni Joyce team yung token and also the certificate of appreciation po.
So, we appreciate
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you po. So we appreciate your coming to our show, HISTOPHTV. We will hold to our hearts these valuable lessons from your experiences and carry it with us as we will be the next generation to lead the Philippine arts and dance scene forward. We thank you so much for all your contributions to the Philippine dance and art scene, and we wish you more success in the future. This is Natalia Armovit
and Maki Recto signing off.